So welcome back. First job on today's list is we're going to get these girls outside. It's long overdue the time they should be outside now because we have layers and layers of grass out there on the paddocks. But there's a reason why we held them in. And we're trying to serve as many of them as we can. And I say serve AI as many as we can before they go out because it's much, much easier to do it that way. And we have, out of the 13 that's here, we have 10 done. And there's a couple there that we don't want to do yet because they're a little bit young yet. And we don't have our heifers normally calving down till they're about 2 years of age. So they're a little bit younger. The ringworm isn't gone yet, by no means. But it is improving. It's been by far the worst case of ringworm not only have we ever seen on the farm, but I've ever seen in my life on a cattle. It's just been so bad, and it's been such a nuisance for the last 3 months. Going with what our viewers were talking about, I asked a question on Facebook and I asked for you guys for your information back about 5-6 weeks ago. I asked the question, what do you guys use for treating ringworm? And he's come back with loads of remedies. So the first thing we done, we seen a couple, I think there was 3 animals at the beginning, had little dots around their eyes. And I knew that was the start of it coming. So I went into my vets and I got a fungus spray. Can't for the life of me remember what the name of it was, but if I do, I will put it up in the comment section. And we used that fungus spray on them areas to give them a good soaking. And we were told by the vet, if that doesn't fully cure it in the first go, do it again in about 10 days' time. In about 10 days' time, we noticed it was spreading and spreading rapidly. So we did them again. We had to do a couple of others as well. But again, they're only little tiny spots. We left that again for another 10 days and could instantly see it was not working. It was making no difference whatsoever. So the next thing we done on your advice is you put up the holly. Now we never used holly before, but I didn't see anything from it yet. I don't blame the holly because we probably should put that up as soon as the cattle goes in and give it time to die off. And maybe put a few actually touching the girders here and let the fungus that grows in it as it dies come down the beams. People said that, beside where their drinkers is, and maybe that acts as an antifungal, same as an antifungal cream, and kills off the ringworm. So we'll do that different next year. But it was there, we tried it. It probably just wasn't up in time for it to make much of a difference. Next thing was mentioned was iodine. So what we did was we got bottles of iodine, you know, the 10% stuff that you use in calf navels, and we got a couple of those and we soaked them in iodine. Absolutely soaked them. We left that for about 10 days, a week to 10 days again. And again, we seen absolutely no difference whatsoever. We knew it was actively still alive. So we came along and we done that as well a second time. And that didn't work. But one thing we haven't tried, which could be the answer to all this, is changing our lick bucket that we were given. A guy mentioned to me yesterday, it could be a lacking in zinc that could be causing you a problem. That's something worth trying. So what I'm going to do is, when cattle goes out, this will go away. It goes away itself. And it's on a lot of cattle there that has completely cleared. Like this 929 has only taken it now in the last 2 weeks. And you can see the way it's covering her. But Bo, although she still has the dry skin around her eyes, Bo's better. Hair is growing back. This one here, 934, she was infested. Nearly nothing to be seen on her now. This one here was covered around her eyes. She's better. This one here, the white one, she never got it at all. Never got a bit of it at all. So she's obviously carrying some sort of a gene that's immune to it. A lot of people told me if an animal is white and has a lot of white on it, it doesn't get ringworm. I've never heard that before, and I don't know if there's anything about that or not. I find it hard to believe, but she didn't get it. She was the only one that didn't get it at all. Now we put them out, they're not going to look great because of it. I'm not seeing them itching or going mad with itch or anything in the sheds. It doesn't seem to be affecting them that way. They're thriving away as ever, and they've got great condition on them as well, and they're growing really well, good appetites and all that. It's just a horrible thing to look at. That's it, the coal's with me. What we're going to do now is we're going to let our heifers out here. We're going to put tail paint on them, and we're going to run them down the pass here and out onto the road. Family's coming over to help me now. The rest of them are all coming over as soon as I ring them. I have the whole brigade with me today because it's Saturday. So we're going to hunt them down here, out onto the road, across the road and into a paddock just beyond that hill. Now I could hunt them straight over here, across the silage field, only 300 yards, and I'm in the paddock. And I won't do the silage ground any harm. I'll put 2 fences up either side, just run them straight across it, not do an ounce of harm. But I don't want to do that, because if I do, the far paddock is just nearly straight down, and when they go in, they're going to gallop down that, and they're going to do what they've done before, not be fit to stop, and just bust through every fence that's there. So I want them to run off some of that steam by running them down this way, out onto the road. They'll gallop over the road. There's plenty of us here to control them. and we let them in the bottom of the paddock instead. And hopefully, by doing that, they'll burn off some steam. All right, let them out for the last time. Now, my ladies. Alright, so that's them all tail painted. My family's just after coming over here on the Jeep, and they're all going down there to get set up all around the road, and they're going to ring me now on my phone whenever they're all ready. And these girls are going to run like the hammers of hell down that lane, and hopefully they won't break anything. As soon as I get them out and they're all settled, I'm going to come into this shed and I'm going to sweep down this entire cubicles. I'm going to get the shovel in and I'm going to scrape all the slats. I'm going to give it a really good cleaning. Get rid of all this silage and everything, and then I'm going to leave it ready basically for power washing. When you do it now, get it over with, you don't have to keep looking at it. That's it, it's finished then for the year. One thing as I'm waiting on this call, which is probably going to ring now any second, is this road down here is really quiet. But one thing guaranteed is as soon as we put cattle on it, even the short distance we're going, I guarantee you a car will come. It always happens. We used to hunt our cows from our farm. That's the home farm over there in the distance. And we used to hunt them over the road to this place here, actually. And they used to graze here in the daytime after the first cut was done. That's the way we used to do it. Well, it's not a big long distance or anything. But there wouldn't come one single car until one animal had put his first foot on the road. And always a car would come as soon as you'd put an animal on the road. Here's my phone ringing. Are we right? All right. No bother. Right, me ladies, let's go. Come on. Come on. There you are. Where you go? Go on. Up. So we're all around the wire here at the minute. The whole way around the wire, just to protect it, just until they calm down and they start eating grass and they don't run through it before they see it. We're never in this paddock before, so they have to just see where the fences are. And of course Bo is in front, she's the leader. I have to say they're very quiet. I expected them to be far worse than this. That little run over the road works wonders because they're panting a bit now, and it is very warm actually today, and they're panting a bit now after a little run, and that calms them down a wee bit, and it works a treat. As you can see here behind me, there are plenty of Dawkins in this paddock, loads of Dawkins. I didn't get to spray this paddock last year, and I could see that it really did want to be sprayed, so I will spray this as soon as this grazed. I'll spray this paddock off because it definitely needs it. But the silage ground has cleaned up great, and there's a few Dawkins. If you can look here now, see some of the Dawkins that was in the silage ground, or docks I should call them, not Dawkins, dead. One thing that was quite weird is there's a couple of places that didn't kill them, just big areas that it did obviously go across. I can see the lines, and it was spraying, and no effect. That was a bit strange. It's only in a couple of little small tiny places, but it's there, and I can't just understand why that was, but some reason for it. I just can't put my finger on it. Anyway, get on to the next job. Alright, so you probably walked it out already what we're about to do, and that is we're about to wash this shed. Now it's been about 3 days since we put the cattle out. I think that was on Saturday. This is Monday. I give the whole thing a really good scrape and clean down as best I could. I brushed it all down and cleaned the slats to leave us the least amount of muck on it as possible to make it as easy washing as possible. Now, one thing I normally do before I wash a shed is I soak it down about a day beforehand, and I didn't get to do it this time. I'm going to see what happens, but there's not a huge amount of dirt on this, and it shouldn't take much to clean it down. We'll see how we get on. I'm going to soak it down first and leave it for about an hour. Just soak it down with the power washer, give it a late mist over, leave it about an hour, and then take into it completely, because I have to do one little run back at home before I can start into it. It works great for me to leave it for an hour before I take into it, so we'll see how it goes. Now, a lot of you who follow the channel might see that I'm using a different power washer. I normally would have the tractor hooked up here and use my PTO power washer that I have for the past 20 years. Not this time. The last couple of years I have been thinking about changing my PTO washer, and I've been thinking about looking about buying a petrol one. I never just got round to doing it. First of all, I looked at buying a smaller one, which had no gearbox. This one here has a reduction gearbox in it. I bought this about a year ago now. Well, a little less than a year ago, probably around June, July last year. And I've used it quite a bit. So pressure wise, it's 3000 psi, 21 litres a minute. That's plenty for what I need it for. I sold my PTO washer first, and then I sold a couple of little things around the house that wasn't actually doing anything. We weren't long raising up a few quid, that nearly paid for this power washer on its own. So fingers crossed, we'll have it equally as long as we had our PTO washer, which was about 20 plus years old. One thing I do have to do with it is I have to put my reel on. I have my reel at home that I took off the PTO washer, and I have to just make up a frame coming up here and across and just mount my reel there. It's a little project I have to do just to weld that all up, and then I'll have a nice compact system all just there in the one lump, ready to go. So that's it, it's all done. Couldn't really film anything outside because it's actually a storm out there. It's very rough, and it's raining very heavy as well. It's starting to ease off slightly, but it's rough morning. That's it, school is out for summer. It's nice to get that job out of the way, especially now, before silage and things done. I plan to get the one at home done, the big one, and the other one done in the next week. And that's it. At least then I can put a few bits and pieces of machinery in the ones at home. And it's job off the list. I'm going to leave the holly up. Am I right or wrong? Someone told me if you leave the holly up, it'll kill all the ringworm that'll be in the house, and leave it that there's less chance of them getting it the following year. Is that right or wrong? I don't know. I'm going to leave it up anyway. It's not doing any harm. Look, it's a bit of Christmas decoration. It'll be up there for next December. We can put some lights on it. You know the whole story. But anyway, outside is finished as well. I just decided I wasn't going to originally run the yard at all, but I did. I'm not cleaning in there because cattle are getting in and out of there all the time, so that doesn't need to be power washed. But out here is all cleaned and finished, and it's a job ticked off the list on a very wet morning. So it took me about 2.5 hours, 3 hours to do everything, and that's done. I'm going home now to change my clothes, have a bite to eat, and get on to the next job. A couple of days later, well, 2 days later in fact, and what I'm at here is I'm power washing out this shed. I'm well on, of the walls all done, I have the cubicles all done, and all I have to basically do now is wash down the slats. I'm not going to really worry too much about doing a real perfect job on them because they're just slats. But I'm going to give them a quick wash down. I'm going to wash out this place here, clean that all out, and then just give around the whole front of this shed all a real good wash. I'm going to go over to the silage bit then. I'm going to start clearing it out and start cleaning out our silage bit. I'm not going to film any more power washing because it's a dirty old job and it's not the easiest to film either, so I'm not going to bother filming any more of that. I think you kind of understand the rhythm of it. One thing I will be doing as well in here, we're washing down the roof. Every 3 years or so I wash down the roof, 2 or 3 years. I just wash down bits of the roof, not going up and power washing all this down. I'm just talking about the side panels. It brightens the whole shed up, gets rid of that old dark kind of, it's not a mold, it's now kind of a dust that comes of cattle's backs and that sticks onto the sheeting, and when you wash that down it just brightens the whole house up. So that's another thing I'll do. I have an extension thing that fits onto the power washer for doing that, and that'll solve that problem. These wee girls here, I have to give them some straw. It's just early in the morning now. It's actually just gone about 8:15 here, I think. My visible watch. Yep, 2 freckles past 8:15. And these girls here just after being fed, I just have to give them some straw. Get them solved for the day. Girl here in the white, wearing the white jersey, she is going to calve probably tonight. Very big belly. You can see there, nice big belly on both sides. She's not in for about another 10 days, and she's 10 days as well, so that would be it. Calving be finished. Yes, it's later, but better late than never. I like to always give you bits of updates and things if I can. So do you remember the Belgian blue heifer that was born? A big lump of a heifer. Very well made, very good shape of an animal. Then we have our Aberdeen Angus bull, which I had to put up there, I didn't like getting up. And then we have a nice Frisian bull here. They're all about 2 weeks old. And they'll be going for sale. They're actually going today, and I just wanted to show you them before they went. But there's one calf that I do want to show you. So do you remember a video I done about a calf that had a problem with his back legs? Well, that calf's still here, and that's probably about 2 weeks since I made that video. Maybe a little more actually, it could be 3 weeks. And I said to you I was going to hold on to that calf to make sure that calf was perfectly fine before it left here, because I had a buyer who wanted to take it, but I know it would be going into a big batch of calves, and I didn't want that to happen. I want to just wait a wee while, because I'm pleased to say compared to a younger heifer calf, there's it now. There's 985. If you look at the tag, you'll see it in the last video, the same tag, but there's that calf now. These 2 calves here that are with it are heifer calves, and they're a lot younger. I suppose, what is he now? He's a month old now. So he's going as well today. He's going with that batch as well. So it just took time. I mean, young kids and myself took him out on the street and we walked him around the house. And believe it or not, that's what we done. It didn't take long to do, and he run after the bucket. And we done that for about 2 weeks. We didn't have to do it then after, because he runs around the house here mad. He'd ate any amount of meals, which is partly the reason why I'm kind of glad he's going today to another farm, because he's not giving these pair here really a fair deal at all, because any meal we put into the trot, he devours it. Nothing is more pleasing in farming than seeing something like that. You feel like you've done something good. You've given an animal a chance that otherwise maybe mightn't have had such a good outturn, but it's got the chance that it needed. It's got the proper start that it needed. And now hopefully it'll go on to do well for the next man, because it certainly hasn't looked back here. It's going to be busy in the next couple of weeks, getting silage done, doing these new farm tours that we're doing as well, when I get the time to do them. But I am really looking forward to doing that, because some of the farms that I'm going to should be really interesting. So that's coming now very shortly. But what I'm going to be doing now off camera is I'm going to be finishing off washing the rest of these sheds out, and then we'll fold out our netting out in the field, get that all ready, and move machinery and things around the front of the silage pit. And my hope is to get that all done now in the next 2 or 3 days. It'll give us a little bit of time to go around and visit these farms that we want to visit, and that's kind of what I'm aiming towards, just getting a little bit of free time to do that. Well, I'll leave it there for now. Thanks very much for watching as always. Until the next one, we'll talk to you again.